Good evening. I welcome you to Strange Nexus, your portal to the realms of the strange, spooky, and unexplained. On tonight's episode, I bring to you the story of Thomas, an avid football fan preparing for the upcoming fantasy football season. Let's hope he chooses wisely.
The night was unusually quiet as I settled into my dimly lit study, my laptop perched on the desk before me. The glow of the screen cast eerie shadows on the walls, and a faint unease settled in the air. It was time for my nightly ritual, a mock fantasy football draft to prepare for the upcoming season. Little did I know that this seemingly harmless routine would lead me down a path of terror I could never have imagined. I logged into the draft platform, excitement mingling with the fluttering feeling of anticipation. As a passionate football enthusiast, this was my way of staying connected to the game during the off-season. The familiar virtual draft room loaded, and I began selecting players for my team, my fingers dancing over the keyboard. The clock ticked down with each pick, the tension building as I strategized and debated my choices. But as the names of players were called out in the draft room, a strange sensation prickled at the back of my neck. I brushed it off as mere nerves, attributing it to the eerie stillness of the night. With each selection, my unease grew. It was as though the room was slowly filling with an unseen presence, a palpable weight that pressed down on me. I forced myself to concentrate on the draft, chalking up the unease to an overactive imagination. Time slipped away, and I was engrossed in the process, barely noticing the passage of hours. It was when I heard a faint whisper, just a soft murmur at the edge of my hearing, that my heart skipped a beat. I glanced around the room, my eyes darting to the corners, as if expecting to see something there. Shaking my head, I muttered, "Get a grip. It's just the draft room sounds." I continued with my selections, the draft proceeding as expected. But as I made my next pick, a sudden gust of wind blew through the room, extinguishing the candles I had lit earlier. The room plunged into darkness, the screen of my laptop the only source of light. My heart raced as I fumbled for my phone, using its flashlight to navigate the room. I shivered, the air now frigid around me. I could have sworn I heard the faint sound of footsteps, almost as if someone were pacing behind me. I turned, my light sweeping across the empty room, revealing nothing. "Is anyone there?" I called out, my voice wavering. Silence was my only response, broken only by the distant hooting of an owl outside. I shook my head, berating myself for letting my imagination get the best of me. I focused on the draft, determined to finish what I had started. Just as I was about to make my next pick, a voice, distant, yet unmistakable, echoed through the darkness. "Choose wisely." I froze, my fingers hovering above the keyboard. The voice had been so real, so clear. I scanned the room again, my heart pounding in my chest. The draft room appeared just as it should be, empty. Gulping down my fear, I laughed nervously. "All right, that's it. This is ridiculous." I resumed the draft, my hands trembling slightly. The minutes ticked by, each one dragging out as my anxiety grew. I could feel eyes on me, an intense gaze that seemed to pierce through the darkness. But whenever I turned, there was nothing to see. As the draft progressed, the room began to shift around me. The walls seemed to close in, the shadows deepening and warping into grotesque shapes. I blinked hard, my heart racing as I struggled to make sense of what I was seeing. Had the fear finally gotten to me? Then, from the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of movement. I turned, my flashlight revealing a figure standing by the window. It was tall and shadowy, its features obscured by darkness. panic gripped me, my breath catching in my throat. "Who's there?" I demanded, my voice shaking. The figure didn't respond, but I could feel its gaze fixed on me. It radiated an aura of malevolence, a presence that sent shivers down my spine. Before I could react, it lunged forward, its movement fluid and unnatural. I screamed, stumbling back and knocking over my chair. My laptop crashed to the ground, the screen cracking upon impact. I scrambled to my feet, fumbling for the door, but it wouldn't budge. I was trapped, alone with this sinister figure. The figure advanced, its form shifting and contorting as though it were made of smoke. It whispered in a voice that seemed to echo from all directions, filling the room with an otherworldly sound. I couldn't make out the words, but the dread they inspired was unmistakable. Desperation fueled me as I searched for an escape. My gaze fell upon the broken laptop, its screen still flickering. With trembling hands, I grabbed it and aimed the screen at the figure. The light seemed to repel it, causing it to recoil. Heart pounding, I backed towards the corner, my makeshift weapon, my only defense. The figure advanced once more, its form wavering as though struggling to maintain its hold on reality. With a surge of determination, I held the laptop higher, its flickering light intensifying. The figure let out an anguished wail, its shape dissipating into the darkness like smoke carried away by the wind. The room slowly returned to its normal state, the walls no longer closing in, and the shadows subsiding. Exhausted and shaken, I stumbled out of the room, the laptop still clutched in my trembling hands. As I emerged into the hallway, the air felt lighter, as though the malevolent presence had finally lifted. I rushed outside, the cool night air washing over me, and I didn't look back. To this day, I can't explain what happened that night. The draft room, the figure, the whispers. It was as though I had stumbled into a nightmare. I never did another mock draft after that, the memory of that chilling encounter too vivid to shake. And now, whenever I hear the wind whisper through the trees, I can't help but wonder if it carries with it the echoes of that sinister presence, waiting for another opportunity to haunt the unsuspecting.
Wow, what a tale. This reality never ceases to amaze me. Now click subscribe and kindly like this video for more Strange Nexus.